So today I'm here to really talk to you about Planck in details, and from the start, from the concept, from the ideas, from what you have done and what's so hard about it. But I'm going to start with something different. I want to know more about you for the audience first, of course.
All right, I'm Arman, the CTO from Planck, and my background is mechanical engineering. I major in product development, but I'm already very rapidly after graduation, I started to travel to China, and I got stuck in a positive way. I noticed that by being here, I had
Here in China.
Here in China,
Yes.
we're currently in Dongguan, China. By being here, I could have far more control over my vision of the product and let the factories really create what I wanted. Instead of I'm sending a circle and they send me back square. By traveling here, I could actually understand why that happened. Helping to improve my workflow and then going step by step to improve that. Partnering with ShiftCap was amazing back in 2018 and 19, where we created the first program, which was a visionary product that I was very happy to partner with. It's taken us on a certain journey. Then I've been building up brands for mobile phone accessories, building up a brand for USB-C hubs, understanding all the nitty-gritty detail on the PCBs on how to get the best USB-C hub, how to get not only the best USB-C hub in, well, I would say price, but also quality.
Fair enough, fair enough. Well, I'm Benson. I'm the founder of ShiftCam. Arman and I actually been working in ShiftCam for a while. That's why we have extensive knowledge and actually extensive visuals and visions into the creator market of how one create anything with their phone, shooting with it for social medias, shooting it for professional purposes, shooting with it for cinematography purposes. Planck is something that we created today to embody a lot of these visuals into the best of both worlds. Hey, like Arman, back in I don't know how many months ago, how did the potentials of Planck or the concept of Planck even surface in your mind?
I think it was early April last year when we were exploring more ways on how can we facilitate content creators, seeing how the iPhone 15 Pro Max is an incredible device and you can shoot anything you want with it. Hearing that for cinematography, it was approved for whitelisted for Netflix, but that means recording on the highest quality. Recording on highest quality comes with highest file sizes. And since your phone storage is clogging up quickly, you're limited. You want to keep shooting. But it's not only for cinematographers, but it's for every content creator. Content creators don't just do one shot, they do multiple takes. When you go through their camera roll, you see that they've been busy during the day. That's not just 10 photos. They probably shoot hundreds of photos. Oh, even when I go on holiday, I'm not a content creator. I shoot 1,000 photos a day. I just forget to delete them afterwards or sort them out. But that's something
That's why you need more storage.
it needs more storage indeed. And from that, start to look into the existing solutions. Now, of course, you got the hard drives. So the iPhone 15 Pro Max was the first one, or the Pros, were the first with the USB-C port. The USB-C port opened up a tremendous amount of capabilities for the phone, including attaching storage. But I think this is also where the limitations come in. Limitations in terms of user experience. When I just got a few of these here.
Yeah.
If I look at just hard drives that are conventional hard drives, popular in the content creator environment, it's bulky. If I need to put these on a phone, and this is a 16 Pro Max, the challenge is always, how are you going to mount it? You want it to be convenient, and something I've always done is pioneer. I want to create what's not there. I don't like to be a me too. If it's a me too, it's already somewhere here on markets. I want to create something different. But these things are becoming bulky. You got these cables that are just annoying in the way. This one is already very compact.
I think it's actually one of the most
It's one of the most popular ones, and it's a good one. Having said that, there's sometimes some challenges with it. Same with these. It is definitely sturdy. It's rugged. It's nice, and it works. This one is a 2 terabyte. This one is a 1 terabyte. This one is also 1 terabyte. These things are fast, and recording with your phone enable that. As a designer, a creator, I just want to get a more seamless experience. I don't want to fumble around with cables. I don't want to be digging into bags on, hey, where's the hard drive? I need a cable. Where's the cable? Oh, this cable. Oh, I forgot the cable. Is this a power cable? Is this a data cable?
Yes.
Because that's another problem that many people don't realize. Often data cables or power cables are vastly different, and they compromise your
You gotta be a geek to actually
Yeah, you gotta be a geek. And
know all of them.
yeah, I think on USB-C hubs, on thing, let's say component level on PCBs, I became that geek, and I like that. It was fun, but it also explained to me the importance of choosing the right components.
Yes.
So with Planck, I try to envision the tiniest memory possible, and I think that is where how we created this incredible product.
So this is definitely like a magnitude bigger. And not only that you mentioned how using it is not easy, mounting it on the phone, it's obviously difficult too.
It's the difficulty is really on how you're holding this together. I've seen people just using an elastic band or just tape, duct tape works.
And now there are clamps
There are
that
clamps,
make it even more
but it
bulkier.
makes it bulkier. And the thing is, why would you need that when, in essence, with Planck, it's 7.2 millimeter thick. This can be your user experience. We're not obscuring any access to your phone, not making it more difficult to hold. You still want to shoot, and that's possible. And that's where we release pieces here. It's just hard. And I think it's a casual use product as well as a professional use product. And that's where we try to make the differentiation, knowing that with the iPhone 16, you can shoot up to 4K 120. We want to build a sustainable product. And for that, understanding data transfer, how does that work, chipsets involved, heat dissipation, that was essentially a massive
I was
challenge.
I was about to ask. I'm sure for people who are new to Planck, they are looking at these big hard drives and looking at this small one. They won't be like it can be comparable. Like in what ways Planck is able to do the right thing, while what are the differences between them makes Planck so special and perfect for shooting on a phone, other than the design factor that we just covered. Yes.
I think this is where the term comes in that I used before, pioneering. 3 years ago, 4 years ago, these were the smallest in the world. True. Right now, new technology, smaller components allows us to improve that form factor. As a beauty of being here in China, quicker access with the factories. So going to all the manufacturing partners, seeing what they're working on, coming from a field where I'm used to dealing computer IT, I'm seeing all these components and miniaturization, where essentially combining two chips in one reduces footprint, the way on how PCB can get multiple, an additional set of layers, so you can compact the PCB. There are many ways how we can reduce the whole footprint. We started with what type of memory are we going to use, and there are plenty of different types of memories that we could choose from. Quickly realizing that while heating up, the memory starts to drop below the minimum speeds we need. Because when you shoot 4K 120, as Apple has already stated on their website for Apple ProRes, you would need, on the highest quality, a minimum bandwidth of 440 Mbps per second. Now that is something where we got to look at sustainable speed, because when you're recording, and usually what we're seeing from the content creators, they're not shooting like 1 hour videos from begin to end in the highest refresh rates. They shoot a minute, maybe 2 minutes, 3. Still, you want to have an engineering of your product that actually allows you much longer, so you're not being limited. So we've been focusing on how can we achieve that sustainable speed, which comes to, I would say, 3 main pillars. One is your chipset selections. The other is your heatsink. How do you get rid of the heat? And the other is your quality control. And your quality control actually from product development onwards. In development, you got to make sure to have the right mindset. Instead of proving that it works, which is a very standard mindset often from factories, I'm always deploying the mindset, I'm going to prove it doesn't break, which means heavy stress tests, much heavier than what the general user would be doing. But that's good because you have these different types of usage patterns from different users, and we just want to be ready for it. I'm perfectly fine if no one is really using it to the max, which is great, but we got to be ready for that. And if your product isn't ready, you'll quickly start to see our nails on and don't want that. This is something that from my early days in the USB-C hubs was a main differentiator between the brands I built and what we're doing here, or what I saw from competitors. And that vision is also implemented in Planck.
Yes. So you mentioned a lot about your design theory, your development theory on Planck, and there's a lot of pioneer in there. What in a more subjective opinion, what do you like about Planck yourself? when you're using one? I know you've been using it. So from a technical prototype to an engineering prototype, everything, and you went on trips actually using with it. Like, tell me about how you feel while using it. Aside, you are the designer and developer of it. See if you can split that mindset out a little bit.
I think the first time I really started using it was when we had the first prototype, which I think is this one, the very first one. And this one I got in end of September, which was an incredible, and early October. Early October, I got this one. And this was super interesting because I wanted to see how useful it was, but also how it behaves under different circumstances. So I went on a trip and I loaded it with videos. Sitting in the airplane, plugging it into my iPad Pro, just watching videos. But there was another way how before I was using this, which is very clumsy. Try to hook this up in an airplane, where do you put this? It's kind of not really useful.
I think it's harder even having this on the phone all the time though.
Yeah, exactly. And I was, why would I bring this? I'm just gonna bring this. Now, not being a professional content creator, of course, when I started shooting, I forgot to change the quality settings and everything. So I was just shooting in 4K 30. Instead of, let's try to shoot this, because I just had my iPhone 16. I wanted to try it a bit. But it was the convenience of shooting on my phone, recording immediately to this, not really blocking access to anything on my phone. It doesn't feel cumbersome. It's just there without noticing. And to me, that was the biggest thing. This product needed to be something that disappears in the experience. It gives you additional features, more joy of use, and you can just hold it. You can put it in your pocket without a problem. Take it out, you start shooting. And this part was something that none of these, in that seamless manner, was facilitated.
Indeed, I think when you say seamless experience, it's cover a lot of wide variety of topics. From you carrying it, bringing it with you on the journey, it's quite easy, not cable, cumbersome. And to shooting with it on the phone, it fits in your palm, it doesn't interfere, you don't need an extra mount. It fits in your pocket, because who doesn't actually just put away their phone in the most
Trying this in my pocket, you put
Exactly.
cable.
Not only that, it's just obscure. It's just basically sometimes we might just put it in a purse, or we just put it into our pants pocket. The Planck actually fits in there as well. But what I hear is actually very interesting is after once you're done shooting, you get to be able to put it on an iPad or even or bigger computer or TV screens to view it together. I think that's actually super interesting user scenario. I often being asked that, hey, can you airdrop those like for me? And especially if you have a bunch of video, that airdrop
takes forever.
It takes forever. And not that they only have to find the person in the airdrop. You got to convert it, and you wait forever, and the other side.
Wait, don't walk away, don't walk away.
Exactly. And then you get to start transferring, only to know that when you finish transfer, sometimes it fails. I have this experience in another exhibitions where I shot a lot of things on my phone, and I tried to transfer a computer. Funny enough, I couldn't do it. I tried to airdrop it, and it fails at the end. I tried to plug a cable from the iPhone to the laptop. It doesn't allow me to sync unless it's synced to the cloud, and then sync it back. I have no idea why I have a cable already. Like at the end of the day, I pull out the prototype of Planck, put it in my phone, transfer it to the file, and then unplug it, put it in my computer. End up that was the most traditional and yet most reliable way. I couldn't stress enough how easy it is, and how when something that is so portable, so seamless when shooting, so seamless when you are switching between scenes, and again, so traditional and expected seamless reliability to be transferred to whoever wants those content afterwards. Either your own computer or your friends and family who want a copy of what we have gone to in the trip. Aman, tell me one of the most difficult challenge when developing and manufacturing.
The biggest challenge in this is communication with suppliers and setting the expectations, the quality assurance. We want a certain quality. And to do that, no matter who you work with, you got to go in and you got to dictate what your quality process is. So from early on, instead of proving that it works, I wanted them to prove to me that it doesn't break. It doesn't fail. And I think by taking that approach in product development, we managed to already take out a lot of small things. In the initial stage, the factory was like, hey, this is all great, all good, I got it. Start testing it. I'm like, guys, this is what the testing procedure should be, and look at this. I'm like, oh wow, we did not realize that. But yeah, we've done our standard tests that we usually do for all other products, USB-C hubs. I'm like, yeah, but that's fine. We have a different product, and for us, we just want this.
I want to jump in here, and I saw there is a competitor product on your tables.
Yeah.
I want can you tell me in essence of maybe in relationship with maybe difficulties of the technological innovations and pioneering of Planck comparing to maybe some of the things that's on market? And I'm sure that everyone knows what is in the market right now,
Right.
latest and greatest.
I think this one from Lexar is for sure the closest competitor that we have.
Yes.
The tiniest that was developed when they launched a Kickstarter project. It's amazing what they've done. It's good quality, but when it comes to user experience, my problem is it's actually not even fitting in your case. So it's
Wait,
not
that letting know.
no, which is incredible.
Oh, okay.
And-
They didn't think of phone cases.
And no, exactly. You can only use it without a case,
Oh yeah. Oh my god.
or you got to use different.
No, I'm just trying to tell. Is it actually not fitting?
And I know you hadn't seen this before. That's why I wanted to show you also.
Yeah, like
Because it and this blew my mind. So even if this would fit, then you got to take off your phone case, you got to plug it in. Now, to me, this doesn't feel very stable, not very secure. It doesn't disappear in the experience. It doesn't fit really in the palm of your hand when you try to do anything. And I would just be afraid that this breaks.
true.
So, I think it's an amazing innovation that they did, because they went essentially from this already to this.
Yes.
But where for us, also from engineering purpose or engineering philosophy, it came in. Instead of going upright, where you have a lot of wiggle, I wanted to design it in a T shape, because this reduces the wiggle, less stress on the port,
Yes.
and it also disappears in your hand. There are other products that are developed in this kind of way, in this way, but this one is the first one that really fits in like this, and that's where component selection comes in.
I was about to ask, like, it's not like it reinventing a whole new theory that no one thought of. There must be a reason why people like didn't want to change from this or this, but it ended up. It's like there's only three sides. How much can it vary?
I don't mean to be disrespectful, but in factory country, factories develop from, we've done this in the past and we keep doing it. They're never looking at the user experience. So when a factory, the most used USB-C port is the one that is in the same level as the PCB, which is their standard component. They do millions per month on that component. So the component that I wanted is a vertical one, which meant even creating a tooling for this actual USB-C port that stands up with enough clearance to make sure we can actually make it, because this one is in line with the PCB. So the PCB is in this level, and this port is just on it.
So what I hear is that it's easier to manufacture like things that is actually obscure.
It's been tested, proven.
Yes, but it's a known venture into how to reliably manufacture the way that Planck has been designed for. So just for the audience to see, like this is what we have on Lexa. This is what we have on Planck. So from a directional point of view, like you can see how much more stick out like that Lexa was for you. And then even from the side view, like you can see that this is a very, very different form factor. Cool.
So I think the other thing is when we talk about how universal Planck is, because of course it's a phone first design, but you can use it as any other, well, I would say USB drive, but it's an SSD. So if we look at a MacBook, if I take the Lexar as an example, when I put this in here, yeah, again, this feels very fragile.
Yes.
But taking Planck, this again is a very nice flush fit. And again, we go back to that plug and forget kind of concept, where this is just the perfect 2 terabyte addition to your MacBook.
So what if now I need more ports? Like some people might concern that there's no extra port. Well, like true, there's no extra port from Planck, and it occupies the one port from.
Well, essentially, this one also doesn't have that port.
True.
And you need to plug this into a very
hub,
obscure,
right? Like that.
Now, coming back to a hub, that's where we developed the Planck Bank. Being a, let me just quickly show this. Planck Bank is a super small, we compare with the Lexar product, our product. It's a super tiny, small USB-C hub, 4 ports. We got PD power, 140 watt pass-through, so definitely a lot of content creators use a MacBook Pro. MacBook Pro charges, of course, with the latest PD protocols. This is where you can just fast charge a MacBook when this is connected. At the same time, we got 4K output on the HDMI. So if you want to quickly view what you've shot connected up. The beauty is on your phone. This USB-C port on your iPhone allows you to connect any USB-C protocol device, like a hub. So on this one, we got 2 data ports, allowing you to connect to Planck at the same time. So for creators, they can connect up to 4 terabyte, they can keep the power, and they can directly connect to a screen.
So what I hear you said is that Planck Bank actually is designed for actually using it not just the phone, but with the computer as well.
Yeah.
While you're shooting it, the whole Planck Bank system can then transfer and then to the laptop to be maybe downloaded to the laptop, and also using allowing to have a professional power hub for HDMI output for viewing purposes. There's a lot of time where we do have to do editing or external monitors or everything that we
Because this hub is also a 10 Gbps hub. So it basically means you got full speeds on your Planck available when you connect it to a computer. So you can just add it on the Planck directly. I think the bringing in this portable solution to allow to connect more has been one of the main drivers for me as well on this project, just having this used with a phone. Now, of course, I know that when you plug this in, and some backers have raised questions. Hey, if I connect this in, would it block other ports? Yeah, true. But that's because we designed it as phone first. Having said that, other solutions from competitors were also blocking ports. We went for a phone first experience, how it disappears in your experience on your recording. Connecting it via the hub, you still get access to everything. So this can even be just your home setup. You just leave it connected to your power, to your screen. You come home, click it in, and plug in your Planck, and you keep working.
Yes.
So it's a very seamless solution again. You went to quite some lengths to also get this really tiny. And these are small details that people don't see from the outside of a hub, but the cable is a specific engineered cable. After coming also back to my experience in these kind of USB-C hubs, we found out that actually one of the largest contributors to the quality of a hub is the cable and the way how it's soldered to the PCB, as well as the quality of the cable. So instead of going cheap on the cable, which many companies do, having these plastic, fantastic cables, I tried to find a very not so.
That's the wrong way. That's the wrong way of being positive, I guess.
Well, it's so fantastic. We went to a proper braided cable, and a braided cable brings in so much more durability. Because the worst thing you can have is that an expensive hub, by bending it, you break already the copper threads inside. So by going through to a braided cable, we don't have that. Plus, on the inside, we're actually using a USB 4 cable, not a USB 3. By going over spec on the cable, this will never, ever cause you a problem.
I think that's what Apple is still doing too. Like I think we all remember that there were times that cable breaks, and then and now the latest Apple cable is all in braided cable that is not going to break anymore, hopefully. And then but I can see that this is quick.
This is a lot thicker though, and that's also what comes into data cable. The cable from Apple is a power cable. It's not a data cable.
So this one basically, as you mentioned, cable basically is one of the most important factor to make sure the hubs is not only quality but durable. And then, but what I hear is that this actually is a very freaking powerful hub.
Oh yeah.
And designed in such a way that it fits well with the Planck workflow, not only on the phone but transferring onto the computer and other part of their workstation systems. Cool.
One of the other features from the Planck is that, of course, now you can use 2 Plancks on it, which is great, but because these are full USB-C ports, you can connect any other accessory you want with USB-C, including a USB-C microphone. So when you got your setup, when you're doing a podcast or when you're doing TikTok or you record anything, you can just easily connect the USB-C microphone also via Planck while you're shooting towards the Planck.
So one way, we optimize the Planck to the smallest, most seamless, and yet still the most powerful in the volume of it to be disappear in the seamless experience. On the other hand, we created the most powerful and most integrated solutions with your whole workflow that have this familiar feeling of how you've been using a hub that works everywhere. Basically, that's a duo together that actually works very well on anything that you're trying to shoot. So what is the, or maybe I would say, what is the current status of Planck right now?
The current status is that we are in the final stages of confirming the firmwares, and I think that is always where the fine tune is happening. The as an engineer, I always see rooms for improvement. I think I'm super happy with some of the samples that I've already had. But we need to look at mass production. So we're doing trial runs that are coming up. These trial runs will reconfirm that in a larger scale, we can keep the consistency. And if that is, of course, you can make one sample, but one sample is not what we're looking for. We got a lot of backers. They went out to almost 2,100, 2,150, which is amazing. Thank you guys. And we want to make sure that everyone gets the same product, not the differences in it. So
You mentioned one of the three pillars is quality control, and we are in the last stage of making sure that quality control has been done right, so that because this is a storage, people rely on that. So it is utterly important that we are making sure that not only the prototype development product or even first batch manufacture right, it is the subsequent batch that is going to be stay as high quality and reliable, because everyone's data is as important.
So just as and this comes back to the design philosophy from a product. We on the component selection, on heat management as well. Because when we look at a competitive product, now even if I take these products, this is a rubber enclosed product. This one is plastic. This one is aluminum, which is nice. Helps, of course, with heat dissipation. When it's enclosed in rubber, the heat stays in. When it's pure plastic, heat stays in. This one, yeah, they put a silicon jacket around it, but essentially this is all plastic. What we have, yes, it's just well painted.
Ooh, okay.
And they love these first impressions of a product. What we have is a plastic housing on the backside with an aluminum heatsink on the front. Now this genuine aluminum heatsink is actually helping a lot dissipating the heat that's generated. So coming back to chipset selections, when we were looking at controllers, it's not only compatibility of controller with all the different devices out there, whether it's an iPhone, whether it's a Samsung phone, whether it is a MacBook or a laptop from all different brands, doesn't matter. It needs to work. So that was one pillar. On the other hand, power consumption. Power consumption is critical. The more power it uses, usually the hotter it gets. So looking at temperature generation or heat generation of components by themselves is really important. And then as well for the memory, of course. Memory also uses power. So what is that power consumption profile and how can we minimize the heat generation? Essentially, if you don't generate it, you don't have to dissipate it. That's one. On the memory as well, it is looking at the fastest pass through.
So it's very interesting to know how you pick components and how you control the qualities to make sure that this is going to be a great product still.
What a test that factories are always freaking out about is the stress test. You got an app called Blackmagic or you got Crystal Disk where you can check the speeds. This is not always showing the truth in terms of usage.
How does that? Can you explain it to the audience?
I'm not saying it's lying, but that is a snapshot, but it doesn't reflect to the actual usage. So when you are using for recording, that's different from how, for example, Blackmagic does a read-write test. So they write a terabyte, they read a terabyte. But while you do that, while you're switching, the components cool down. So it's not a continuous stress test. And you can also test on 5 gigabytes. It's a bit longer, but again, you have that warm up, cool down, warm up, cool down. So it heats up, but you never have full stress. We're currently testing, we started testing with a data block of 150 gigabytes, which in terms of recording, like 4K 120, is around 20 to 25 gigabytes per minute.
So that's
about
about
6
minutes
minutes.
4K 120 recorded on the ProRes.
Correct. And essentially by copying that, by looking at the transfer rate and to see what the transfer rate is, if it's dipping or if it's not getting below threshold, that's been the main focus, sustained. Because as soon as I see on that curve or on the line that starts to dip, I know already we've got a problem because that means the dip is directly drop frame and your recording is messed up.
I'm sure that people doesn't want drop frames. If that is the first perfect shot there, they're going to take
Exactly. Can you please rewind that? Oh, it was so cute how that kid was grabbing that toy. And can you just redo that again? It never is the same. It never is the same.
So last question, Aman. Why is it called Planck?
Well, as an engineer, we're familiar with all the terms used in sizes. And Planck is the smallest known measurement because this, during development, was the smallest known SSD. I thought, let's call it Planck. It started out as a project name, but turned into a brand, which is always fun. It's always fun.
That's how you never know where it goes, right?
No, exactly. You never know, and it's fun. How it started as brainstorming how we're gonna call it, and then let's just call it for now Planck as a project. It's just super tiny. Yeah, of course we went through Pico and Nano, but that's all taken, and it's not small enough in my opinion. It's really the tiniest that's currently available, and especially on this speed. So yeah, that's how we got to Planck.
Cool. All right, thank you, Oman. I guess there's about 20 days left in the Kickstarter right now. Your support of actually bringing this to life is utterly important, and it's super amazing of how we deliver these new concepts, innovations to the markets. What you're going to support is how we're going to account for the first order, and we can budget and prepare material correctly, therefore shipping it in the right quantity and qualities. So your support is going to be super helpful on bringing a new innovations to life. Back us on Kickstarter right now, and we will see you on the other side.